Good morning. My name is Goh Yan Xiang. Today we're doing the presentation for the final assessment for business ethics. For the first question, it asks to use Ross prima facie duty theory. And then this theory says that everybody has moral obligations, but they shouldn't do it if they are conflicting and and more important duties. For Sheen, their duty is non-maleficence, which means that they should avoid doing actions that causes harm. Because the fast fashion industry relies on low-cost manufacturing, this can result in poor labor conditions, which can raise concerns. If workers within Shein supply chain experience unsafe working condition, unfair wages, or too many working hours, then maintaining these practices conflict with the company's duty. But Shein also has a duty of justice to all of its stakeholders. While the customers and the company benefit financially and from the cheap clothing, the workers are the ones who bear the cost to their poor working conditions and low wages. Therefore, from Ross' perspective, Shein cannot just prioritize their low prices and profitability when the benefits are at the expense of the workers. Next, I use the Kant's second formulation of the categorical imperative. This theory says that human beings must be treated as ends themselves instead of merely a means to achieve an end. This is relevant to Shein because the business model depends on producing large quantities of clothes quickly and for cheap. If the workers are treated primarily as a way to reduce production costs and increase profit, that means they are being used by the company to achieve their business objective. And then it's also important to note that outsourcing production doesn't mean that Shein is relieved of their responsibility. Because even though they're not directly employed by Shein, Shein still benefits from their labor. So that means they have a responsibility to respect their dignity and well-being. And next is ethical relativism. This theory says that there isn't a universal standard for morals. Instead, it depends on factors such as cultural and social norms, individual perspectives, and economic opportunity. And then because some people they say that the host country where the government factories are, that if their economic conditions are poor, that means that this will be reflected in the working environment. But and then customers will also have different priorities. Some do care about the ethics, like ethical sourcing, but some only care about having affordable clothes to wear. And then but I don't think these cultural economic differences justify the actions because although understanding the cultural difference is important, it shouldn't become an excuse to ignore the workers' well-being. Then moving on to my own point is that my final position is Shein must provide safe and fair working conditions to their employees. The company should improve their transparency, conduct regular labor checks, and monitor suppliers, and also ensure their workers are treated fairly. And at the same time, I think that customers should have responsibility because the demand is created by them and it contributes to Shein's business model. And moving on to section two, where we use the AI to analyze the article, my chosen moral issue is the Nestle water pollution controversy. The first prompt was provided by the assessment, and based on the AI response, I think that the AI only focused on the legal issues and not the morality. So I think the next prompt should ask the AI to consider the moral theories and whether Nestle was justified ethically or not. Moving on to the next issue, I asked the prompt asked the AI to use the stakeholder theory to see if Nestle has fulfilled its obligations to the affected groups. It goes past the legality and then it analyzes the morality. And based on the AI response, I think that the AI thinks that the stakeholder conflicts are too simple, and I think that the AI should see how the companies balance conflict their demands and whether or not it is okay to prioritize the consumer right over economic performance. Moving on to the next point, I asked the AI to use the Katz theory to see if Nestle respected their stakeholder dignity. But then the AI said that the deception violates the autonomy, but I think that it focused too much on the human stakeholders and not the environment, which is also considered a stakeholder. I think the AI should analyze if companies have a duty towards the environment also. Then for the next point, I asked the AI to use utilitarianism to see if harmful actions are justifiable if the benefits are better than the consequences. And then the AI did use the utilitarianism to compare the benefits and harm. But I think that those harms and benefits are too hard to measure, and it's too hard to determine whether it's okay to sacrifice something for the greater benefits. And moving on to the next point, I asked the AI to use the corporate social responsibility theory to look at the responsibilities aside from just making money. And based on the AI response, I think that the AI should consider if CSR is just an obligation for companies or whether it's voluntary, especially when the company's actions do cause harm. Next, the prompt asked the AI to consider the company's duty aside from just the human stakeholders. And I asked the AI to determine whether the environment has value and companies are responsible to prevent harm done to it. The AI said that the environment is valuable and that companies do have a duty to protect it. And then I think the next prompt the AI should analyze how the firms balance protecting the environment with protecting their economic performance. Next, the prompt that I wrote asked the AI to determine shared responsibility between the company and the government. And then based on the AI response, I think the AI said that both parties are responsible, but it doesn't explain how the responsibility should be divided. I think the AI should try to differentiate between initiating unethical behavior and the ones who are enabling it. For the next prompt, I asked the AI to analyze whether the corrective actions are enough to restore a company's brand image after instances of misconduct. Then the AI said that corrective actions cannot immediately regain trust from the consumers and moral legitimacy. And I also think that long-term accountability depends on a long track record of consistent behavior instead of just a one-time corrective action just to say that you're sorry. And then next, I wrote a prompt to ask the AI to see if moral responsibility also extends to consumers rather than just the government and companies. And the AI said, yes, consumers are also responsible, but I think that it put too much emphasis on consumer responsibility, and I think that that the company should be mostly responsible, and consumers should only be responsible after the news has been broken and after they get to know the full truth. And lastly, I wrote a prompt to ask the AI to use all the previous frameworks and to make a judgment. And then the AI used Kant's theory and said that it offers a stronger judgment. But I think that it should combine all the previous theories also and to complement Kant's theory because it touches on general corporate responsibilities. Thank you.